Okay. The last segment is on the inventory training is reporting. All right, so in the reporting, we have inventory valuation, inventory listing, inventory valuation, and then product moves. And then, of course, the big one and the important one is that every month end, we must do a stock take. All right, so we have some stock take procedures. Some of that is done in Odoo, or the source documentation for that is done in Odoo. But then the rest you do offline in terms of the variance reporting and so forth. But let's just start and look quickly at the inventory report. So your inventory report, or Odoo can give you an inventory report based on the current, in other words, today, or at a specific date. So we can backdate it to the 1st of January 2020, right? And try and get a inventory report, right? So what you are retrieving there is quantities of stock on hand at a particular date and time. So if we just said we want just current inventory in stock, it will go into the system, it will start running that report, and it will give you an extract looking at what quantities of what product do we have at today, at right now. All right. So the only difference, if we then specify it by date, right, is that it will look in the system historically back to a specific date, and that query takes a little longer to run. All right. So this is just a useful tool you have to look at any one given time. What inventory do we have in the system as of right now? And I'll show you why this is important just now when we talk about the stock take procedures. All right, so that's one report. The other report is a valuation report. Likewise, again, valuation report will look at either current right now or historic. So remember, as we were talking about locations, as we were talking about the costing or valuation methods, all that is an aid of being able to generate a valuation report. All right, we need to be able, because remember, at the end of the day, all this inventory is dollars and cents, it's money. Yes. All right. And obviously from an accounting perspective, as well as from a stocks and stores perspective, we need to be diligent, we need to be accountable, we need to show the value of this inventory. All right. So at a current date, just like we did, you can retrieve the value. And basically what it will go and do is we'll go and look at either the purchase price, or in terms of valuation method, or landed cost valuation method that has been applied on the products, and it will give you an output and tell you what the value, dollar value is for the particular number of items that you've got on hand. All right, so it will tell you these items, we've got 2 of them, and this is their estimated value. All right, so you can run or get that valuation report as well. All right, there are some exclamation marks here, can you see? So any products or any queries or any areas where maybe it's not able to calculate correctly, it will give you that exclamation mark to let you know that our valuation is questionable, or there's areas that need to be looked at in regards to that valuation. All right, so pits and all your sands seem to be not okay for some reason or another. All right, so that's valuation. Right, then on a day-to-day, the more key or the more pressing one that we would anticipate you to generate at least at the end of every day is an inventory movement report. All right, so inventory movement report was saying today we issued out X number of these particular products. We received X number of these particular products. We transferred to either another storeroom or another internal location these number of items. All right. So the reports here, product moves, is probably one of the key reports that we expect that every day you're going to be looking and generating a report in regards to that. Now, because these are supposed to be reports, there's certain views that you can get. So can you see that as we've opened here where it says product moves, it's given us this default screen that just says done, right? But more importantly, you may want to now add some filters, all right? a filter is, I think we spoke about it in the first training, it's a way of visualizing information. You can limit by a lot of fields, okay? So one of the things we would want to say is the date. Let's look at yesterday. Is between, right? Yesterday was 24, right? And we'll say 24 at what time? From midnight, right? Because that's the beginning of the day, till 24 at what time? After 5 p.m. All right. Can we see the moves that were done yesterday? All right. So this now is showing that there are 54 pickings created yesterday. All right. Everything from motor vehicle service, washable masks, work suits, safety shoes, mealie meal, farm bricks, and so forth and so forth. Okay. So now we've got a report, isn't it? Now we can see there are 54 pickings that were done yesterday. All right. You can remove some of the filters like done. Done says done is the state when you remember you validated and issued that thing out. We can remove the done filter there. They go up to 106. So these are including some that were not validated. All right. And this is also including some that don't belong to your company. All right. So, but don't worry about that. You won't see that on your profiles because I can see multiple companies. All right. So let's just go back to that done. All right. Now you can visualize these reports in different formats. So this is what we call the list view. You can see here there's 3 different types of views. So this one is called the list view. All right. So it will give you the date, the time, the reference, the product moved, the quantities, and the state. Okay. We can change it into a graph or a pie chart, a table view. All right. So this one, again, it will just show you, again, same items or same information. The one I prefer is this one called the pivot view. All right. The pivot view, what you can do with the pivot view. So we don't change the filter here, same filter. But here you can see all it's got is 2 columns, an X and a Y axis, looking at 2 columns that are coming to total. So I can come here and I can say, add a field here by clicking on the plus button. All right. And I can say by product. So that will go across, maybe I don't want product that side, maybe I want product going down. So product, this side, okay. And then I can say, maybe I want to know the owner. The owner is undefined. Don't want that. I wanted the person who it was actually issued to. So maybe the source location. Okay, so these are the source locations where these different products were taken from. I can then go even further. Let's say reference. Right, so this is the actual picking number, and I can expand it that way so that I can see it for all. So for these particular products, so you start to create a report and you can filter as you see fit. All right. So you can just play with this pivot report to extract the information that is key for you. I'll show you next time the dashboard that I'm working on for stores movements on a daily basis. But when you create these pivot reports, you can actually download it and circulate it and share to management. All right. So you've got the date, you've got the things that were done on this date, you've got then the particular product lines, you've got the quantities, you've got the picking or reference numbers. All right. So you can see and do that, get that reporting output to see how much inventory came in, how much went out every day. Okay. All right. So last part, let's talk about the stock take. So remember that at the end of every month, we must run a stock take. All right. So the first part of running a stock take is we need to generate the current quantities on hand in the system. All right. And how we do that is we go back. So remember the first report we looked at was an inventory report. We'll come back here and we look at this inventory report and we say current inventory. all right? And we want to retrieve the inventory on hand. Okay, so we run that query first. Right, so here is run a query and it says stockable and internal location. Those are the two filters that is used. So remember, we said internal location is the location we use for all goods or stockable items that will count, right? But this is not enough, all right? I want now to say by location. So I want to group by location, all right? And I want to close this filter that says internal for now. So first, I'm most concerned about the location, all right? Okay, where are these things placed or located? Then I'll put back those things that say stockable and internal location, okay? So now I can see that George Silundiga stock has 108 items. I can see that fuel has 2 items. I can see that HQ stock has 293 items. So what I do then is I can open that location, just the one, George Silundiga for starters, all right? And what I then do is I select here where it says product, okay? As long as I've opened, can you see I've opened only George Silundiga? And I've selected all the items that are in George Silundiga. It doesn't cross over to the categories that are closed. You see, these ones are still closed, right? So I've got for George Silundiga, you can see the summary here, right? On hand of X number of items, and it's 108 product lines. And now I can come here, I can then export this. Or I can click here, can you see this little Excel tab here? Yeah. It will export for me just these lines here. So it will export the product name, the location, the reserved quantity, the on-hand quantity, and the company. So if I click that, to generate this report for me. All right, let's move windows so that I can show you. So I just open that. Right, so here's the report, okay? So to export just from George Silundiga stock, those items. What you then do with this Excel extract is obviously there's a template that is used for the stock count. So you import this information into the stock count sheet, all right? And in the stock count sheet, physical counting is going to take place against what? The system count, the on hand that we're getting from the system versus the physical count, all right? And at the end of the day, there's notes that will need to be written to explain where we find that the system count and the on hand count are different. That's called the variance. So we must explain the variance. We must adjust or fix a variance by if it's maybe products that had not been issued out of the system, we do the issues. If it's products that hadn't been received into the system, we receive the products, right? And then at the end, if there are still exceptions, remember, then we do an adjustment to raise or a scrapping to reduce, all right? So we do this for all our inventory locations, all our internal locations, George Silundiga, Montgomery, Harare HQ, Vic Falls Industrial, and so forth. Does that make sense? This is where you get that source information that goes into your stock count sheet and your variance report. All right, are there any questions? Straightforward. Okay, all right. So I think we're done.